Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Ashley Barlow Company podcast. I'm Ashley Barlow, your host. If you are a parent, a teacher, or someone who works at a school, or you're a community member, a volunteer, or a staff member at an organization that supports people with special education plans, a coach, a tutor, or even a grandparent, you're in the right place. Sit back with an ice-cold glass of lemonade, put on your walking shoes and grab some headphones, roll down the windows and cruise. Ready, set, go. Educate, advocate, collaborate.
Hi, Mandi. Hi, Ashley. Yeah, I'm so excited that you're here today. Mandi is, Mandi, I know when we met. Do you? It's been many, many years, Ashley, and I can actually say that I probably met you before you even realized it. Oh, you might have. Okay, so that's fair. But we went to, remember when we used to have PT in Crestview by Pediatric Associates downstairs? Mhm. And we used, the DSADP kids group used to meet there? Right. Okay, so I met you there, and Jack rolled over for the first time that day. I love that. 14 years ago, probably almost, I don't know when babies roll over, but he was probably I don't know, 4 or 5 months, right? Yeah. Well, I can beat that because Clara had an appointment at Pediatric Associates and with Dr. Charlie. And he actually pulled me aside after the appointment and said, "Hey, these friends of mine just had a baby with Down syndrome. Do you mind if I give them your number?" And I said, "Sure." And he name dropped you. And I was like, "Oh, awesome." So see, I knew you before you even knew. Oh my gosh. Then he probably was feeling overwhelmed. Did I ever call you? No. I called Missy. I know I called Missy because he also had me call Missy. Right? Yeah. Yeah. Plenty of us to go around, so it's great. That's right. That's right. Oh my gosh, it's so crazy. So, friends, I always tell my guests that I like for the podcast, if you like friends sitting at the kitchen table, and this is why it may be not you too. No, if you're ready, then this is what you're in for this episode. Um, you know, I love of Dr. Charlie is probably ultimately what brought us together, but it's really our kids. So why don't we start with a little introduction about yourself, your family, what draws you to the disability community, and in your case, the Down syndrome community. Yeah, sure. So I'm Mandi. I'm married to my husband, Bill. We are high school sweethearts. We've been married for 20 years. We have our son, Ethan, who is 21, which is unbelievable. Clara is our middle child. She turned 19 in July, which is also unbelievable. And then we have Carter, who is our bonus baby that he just turned 4 in August. So, and Clara is our child with Down syndrome. So, she's really what brings us to the table, with all of her things that make her Clara. Because she is a kind and we need all the help we can get. All the help we can get, and occasionally you need earphones, I think. Yes. Lots of earphones, headphones, AirPods, all kinds of things. So more things that help with noise and music and things, the better. We were just talking, friends, about how Clara's upstairs listening to Meghan Trainor. And I said, oh, good. So eventually the music changes because Jack is obsessed with Austin and Ally. And I think I might be listening to Austin and Ally when I'm 80 years old. But I mean, I'm sure it's mean that you move on to new music. Yes, but don't worry, you do circle back around. So it's just because it's gone doesn't mean it's gone forever. It will come back. But you kind of get like an interlude or an intermission. It's right. That's fair. That's fair. I enjoyed the High School Musical phase a lot more than the Austin and Ally phase. Oh, yes. That's always a good one. Yeah, I know. The sexual tension in High School Musical, it'll get you every time. Sometimes I've done watch it, and I'm like, wait, they're about to kiss. I get stuff. But for teeny boppers and middle-aged women. Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, so tell us what Miss Claire's doing now. What she have been some like crazy exciting stuff now that we're getting to be a grown up. What she got going on? Oh my goodness. So she graduated high school in May, and so she currently has a boyfriend, which is always interesting times. Uh, and he does not have Down syndrome, but he is on the spectrum. And so they actually make the cutest couple ever because he really likes to talk, and Clara is an excellent listener. And so they make the perfect pair. That he'll just talk and talk and talk, and Clara will just crack up because he's being funny. And so it's really like the best thing. And he's so sweet. Whatever that they go to the movies and they go different places, and they've gone bowling and putt putt and all kinds of things. So that's really fun. She's currently taking a gap year from school, that instead of doing college this year or whatever, that she is exploring her interests in the arts and in entertainment industry. So she's doing modeling, and she actually just signed with yet another agent on Friday. Another name. Yes. So she has multiple agents, and she's booked a couple gigs. And so she is currently living the high life, her best life, uh, being famous on all kinds of things. That she's been published in a magazine recently, and she's gotten some interest in some commercials and things. So we will see where this train takes us, but it's really exciting. So great. I mean, it's really it's really exciting. And I think what's cool about um this for Clara is there are now a fair amount of people with Down syndrome that have been in ads and film and things with various media outreach efforts. They've been unpaid, which is really exciting. But I think that a lot of those people have this really gregarious, outgoing, talkative personality. And Clara is more sweet and reserved and quiet. And I love that the more that people are seen in the mainstream marketing and film industry, the more that people see the worth of everybody, and they aren't just going to hire the gregarious, right, show off kind of a kid like me. Like, yeah, with several of them on her Instagram account, because Clara's on social media. So she actually follows several of them. And yeah, like the girl with Down syndrome who was in the newest Hunger Games movie, she follows her. And there's a couple other models with Down syndrome, like from all over the world. There's one in Ireland. There's one in, I think, England, the United Kingdom. There's just one in Australia, that she follows all of them. And so she gets to see what they're up to and what projects they're working on. And it actually really motivates her and makes her excited for all of her next things. So it's kind of a fun little ride. Yeah, it's really, really great. So I wanted you to come on, Mandy, because our girl just graduated, and because I think that you have done a really good job at navigating things for Clara through the ebbs and the flows, the ups and the downs, the positive and negative. But you've really done a good job kind of maintaining that like optimism and kind of the can't quit spirit. Um, and so I think like kind of the first thing I'd like to start with is that good, acknowledging to everybody that we're going to talk about some of the struggles as well. So talk to us about some of her successes. I know that she had a very long career with the Girl Scouts, and that was really enriching academics. She also was a high school cheerleader. So walk us through some of that stuff that you thought was like just really super good in her K to 12 experience, or preschool to 12 experience, I guess. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we have definitely had the mountains and the valleys for sure. Um, that I like to think they kind of even themselves out, and maybe more mountains than valleys when you look back over the years and see all of the different things that have gone on with her. Um, she's had a lot of successes. She had some successes in school. She had some amazing teachers, some amazing gen ed teachers, as well as special ed teachers. See, she had this one class in high school. It was called a gross motor class as opposed to phys ed, where they actually paired up neurotypical peers with kids in the special ed department. And they did activities and stuff together in a regular setting of gym class. And she made some amazing friends that way. And I was really skeptical at first because I was like, gym, really? Do we really have to have a special class for gym? Um, but I really was kind of surprised by the friendships that she came out of there with, on top of the physical activity and all these things that our kids need anyway. In fact, one of her very best friends, oh no, that's it. Whatever. Her camera turned off. It's fine. Oh no, I don't know what happened.
You're here. I see you now.
Okay, good, because all I see is a black screen. Um, yeah, I see it.
You're there.
Okay, well, as long as you can see me, that's fine.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine. But one of her very best friends came out of that class. So that is a huge success. I think that Clara just loved it to pieces. In middle school, she had some success because she was in more of regular gen ed classes. And I think those were her absolute favorite classes. And so she actually got to be with her neurotypical peers, which she preferred more than being in the resource room. And she got to have a lot of those typical sixth, seventh, eighth grade experiences and assignments and exposures. And I think she just really, really loved that. So that's a really big success for her too, I think. Let's see, as far as extracurriculars go, yeah, Girl Scouts was huge for her. That she started Girl Scouts when she was in first grade the first time. So she was in Girl Scout.
Advocate for that. Like, did you have to do anything to get growth? I know that you were a troop leader forever. Did you just take over because you were trying to create an environment for her? Or was that something that you always dreamed about doing with a little girl?
Well, both, actually.
What did you figure?
I have my lifetime membership as a Girl Scout. So it was kind of like a natural thing that I always just assumed that if I had a little girl, she would be involved somehow. But then, so I helped to start a troop at the elementary school that she started at. And then we moved. And that's when she repeated first grade. And it was just a natural thing. It's like, okay, we're in a new school with new people. This would be a great way for you to make friends and for them to get to know you and all of these things and to do some really cool activities on top of all of it. And that's surprisingly actually what happened. That everything I envisioned happened. And in fact, her very best friend, that she's still absolutely her very best friend today, was in our Girl Scout troop.
Yeah.
We just did all of the typical things that a Girl Scout troop does. Like, I didn't really make a lot of modifications or anything. That we just followed the curriculum and planned activities and did the activities. And having Clara as part of our troop was just there. Like, it was just like it was supposed to be there. And all of the girls were very kind to her and loved her. And I had maybe a half dozen that stuck all the way through high school with us. And so having Clara there, like, I can't imagine it not having Clara.
Yeah. It's really, but Clara's kind of wired, like, she like gen ed classes. Zach too, likes the structure and likes the structure of friendship. Jack doesn't do super well in unstructured social stuff either. And that's why, he had these anxious time periods. The dog's doing something weird. And I say to his teacher sometimes, does he need to be in your room more? And she said, no, he needs more structure. I think Girl Scouts is also really structured. So it's like a perfect place where inclusion can happen really beautifully because it's so structured and it changes. And my goodness, did she learn incredible skills with all of the things that you guys did?
Yeah, she learned so much. Like, especially I think her most favorite thing, well, one of the most favorite things was the cookie sales every year. She loved standing out in front of Walmart and selling cookies. And like, our kids typically have the stereotype of, oh, well, they're not good with money. They're not good with math. In fact, math is like her favorite thing. She loves using calculators. She loves counting money. She loves doing all that sort of thing. So she's really is an entrepreneur, that she loves all of that business types of stuff.
So I can really see something of that nature coming her way. So we'll see.
And that's awesome. So, I mean, that it's just so great that she was able to access that kind of entrepreneurship, all the experiences and everything else. Tell us about cheerleading, because that was super cool. She was a varsity cheerleader, right?
Goodness, where should we start with that? So she started cheer.
Let me tell you, but this is what I think is so cool. She really did have to earn her spot,
Yes, she did.
and she
Absolutely.
did, and she earned it. Yeah.
She did.
Okay.
Yeah. So she started cheer in 4th grade, that she just did the Pee Wee football cheerleading. And so that's what I thought it was going to be anyway. So I thought it was just going to be she'd show up to football games, cheer a couple cheers, and be good. I didn't realize that competitive cheer started in the elementary school. So, and little did I know the team I signed her up for did the football games, but they also did the competitive cheer. And so they started talking about like choreography and all these things. And I was like, what on earth are you talking about? And so I very quickly learned that, oh, we're going to really need to be invested in this so that Clara can continue to participate in whatever. So, but she did. Like they did tumbling classes. It was like 5 nights a week that they were practicing cheerleading as 4th graders. And it was crazy, but she did. She learned the choreography. And in fact, she's like a lot of our kids, when they learn something, you don't take them away from it. Like they are. And so once she learned the choreography and where she had to move to and where her spots were and everything, she never missed a mark ever. She knew what she was supposed to do and she was there. She did the stunting. She did the tumbling classes. She was doing cartwheels. It was fantastic. I loved it. And so we just kept on doing it. Every year I'd ask her, do you want to do it? Do you want to do it? And she was like, yes. And it's like, okay, so we have found another niche for her that she really enjoyed doing. And it helped that she had some of her neurotypical friends from school were on the team as well. So it was also a social thing for her that she knew if she went to cheer, she was going to get to see her friends.
Yeah.
So that was a big thing for her too.
But I think that then that's a good time to kind of shift gears and talk about it wasn't always sunshine and roses. There were periods where you had to advocate. There were times that Clara was not as included, or that it looked like that cap toward inclusive opportunities was going to take a little curve or a detour. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about some of those struggles, whether it's academics or it's athletics or it's in private activity. I actually forgot about gymnastics and how she eventually stopped doing gymnastics. Gosh, she was so cute.
Yeah. Well, that really wasn't our choice because she had to stop gymnastics because that's when she had her spinal fusion surgery.
Yes.
So we were told that she couldn't tumble anymore. And it was like, oh, like our hearts just broke because, I mean, she was a gold medalist for Special Olympics for rhythmic gymnastics and artistic gymnastics for years. Like she started that when she was like 6 years old.
Yeah.
And with an 8th grade, and we were being told she couldn't tumble anymore. And it's like, what are you talking about? So we were really bummed out about that. And that was a huge adjustment. But luckily for us, the adjustment came at a good time because that's also when COVID kicked in. So kind of a natural stop for us anyway, because everything was shut down anyway. But it was really hard to shift away from that because we had been involved in that for so long that it was like, now what are we supposed to do? Because we don't have that outlet anymore. So we kind of had to find some new interests and different ways to stay connected with people. And so cheerleading became a big part of that, as well as Girl Scouts, because then she transferred into high school and we started doing high school cheerleading, which was a whole nother world in and of itself. It was unbelievable that she really did have to earn her spot there. Like there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it because high school cheer is not the same as Pee Wee football cheer or even junior high cheer, if you look at it that way, that because they're all focused about, oh, well, who's going to cheer college? We're going to go to nationals. We're going to win nationals. Like we're going to do all of these things that are super highly competitive. And there were a lot of times where they're like, we don't think Clara would be a good fit to participate in that way. And it's like, you guys don't really understand that she's been doing this for years. These are her friends. She is capable. Maybe she can't do all of the tumbling anymore because of her back, but there are other things that she can participate in and be successful in. So it took some advocating and a lot of meetings with coaches, with school administration. Um, Even there were some parents that were kind of like, maybe she needs to be on a special needs team. It's like, well, yeah, I see value in special needs teams, but if this is the team she wants to be on, why can't she? So um, it was a lot of going on. Like every year I felt like I had to kind of start over a little bit because coaches would change, administration would change, expectations would change. And so it was all about finding ways that she could participate and still be successful and keep everybody happy all at the same time. And
Well,
so
I think, and that's what I love about you, Mandi Jamison, is you said like gymnastics didn't work out because of her physical situation. And you're like, but then we had to find something else. And every year, to a certain extent, you felt like you were starting over again with the cheerleading conversation. And whatever the stressors were from the coach or the administration or the other parents or the other cheerleaders or whatever, you would go back to it and say, well, hang on a second, this is what she wants to do. Let's have the conversation. And so I think what I'm wondering is, where does that come from? Where does that optimism come from? And, I've got it too. And I just don't. I always say no doesn't mean no. It means something else. But there's no parents out there that just get sort of stuck at the dead end. They see it as a dead end. They don't see it as a chance to change things up or change the conversation. What do you think about that?
I think for us, Clara is our miracle child. That when she had her heart surgery at 3 months old, they told us that if we had brought her in 3 days later, we would have lost her. And if that doesn't shake a mother to your core, I don't know what does. Because the thought of losing my child, like even now, like on the anniversary of her heart surgery, I lose it every year because I just can't imagine my life without her. And I know that while we were in the hospital at Children's for her heart surgery, there was a baby in the room next door that didn't make it. And I know that there was another baby that I know in the community that was born the same time Clara was, and they didn't make it. And so for Clara to be here, she has a purpose and she has a mission. And I don't care who you are not going to stand in the way of that. That she is bound and made for something. And that's just how it is. That she is going to break ceilings and she is going to show the world what she is capable of. And it's going to be what she wants to do. And it's going to be the way that she wants to do it. And sometimes people don't always have to like that. But my optimism is because I know that she is here for a reason. And she brings so much joy and laughter every day. Like she will tell you the most off the wall knock knock jokes you've ever heard in your life. And I cannot imagine a day without that. Like it's so her famous joke is knock knock, who's there? Blue, blue who? Blue bathtub. I mean, it doesn't make any sense at all. But every time she tells it, the entire room cracks up. And things like that, I mean, what would our life be like without that? It's just, I just can't. And so my optimism is her. It comes from her. It comes from her smile. It comes from her determination, from her laughter. And the world deserves to see that. And as her mother, that's what I do is I participate in her mission.
Oh my gosh. I mean, that's so beautiful. And definitely, I mean, if you keep Clara at the front of it, keep Clara the center of the advocacy, you're going to win every time. And it's just so beautiful, Mandi. So what about tips that
you can give to parents for that community integration. And, you've done such a good job at creating spaces for her in school and activities, now even in a professional way. Um, how are you doing that? And, do you have any tips for parents whose kids aren't that aren't going to break ceilings, that are, but still yet deserve a space where a space at the table. They still deserve community.
They do, absolutely. And I felt that community is so important, that like our group, our DSAGC group, our kids group, that I love hanging out with you guys. Like our moms' night outs are the best. And I think that we all just feed off each other. And no matter what any of our kids are going through, that you have people there who sympathize with you, that empathize with you, that can share stories about their own kids and what they're going through at any given minute. I mean, anything from potty training to school stuff to extracurricular stuff. I mean, our kids are goofy, and it's so fun to be involved in a group like that. So, but it's okay that if you're not there yet, if your kid is struggling, if you're new to this Down syndrome community or a special needs community, it's okay. It's okay to grieve what you thought you were going to have. That is perfectly okay. I know that when Clara was born, I was not okay. And it took me a while before I was ready. Before I was ready to do our first buddy walk, before I was ready to reach out to the early matters coordinator at the DSAGC. Like, I wasn't sure I wanted to be a part of that community. But when you are ready, just be prepared to meet the most amazing group of people you will ever meet. That they will lift you up when you need to be lifted up, that they will stand by you no matter what your kids are going through. And then you have people like Ashley who will advocate on your behalf. So,
Well, I agree with you entirely. The community, I said this not too long ago on the podcast, but I had this, like, I can picture myself in my basement before we finished it when the laundry was down there and I was switching laundry, and I had my little toddler Griffin. Like, I can remember him. I had a conversation with him and I went downstairs and I switched laundry, and all of a sudden I had this epiphany. This is what it's about. It's about each other. Somehow, for some reason, I got this guy and this community. I don't know if I just talked to one of you guys or if I'd helped somebody or you helped me or what it was, but I was like, this is about people and how we come together. And it stuck with me the entire time, especially at our late night dinner. My favorite, whenever I laugh about our little group in Northern Kentucky, I always think about the time. Do you remember the time that we were at dinner? Our kids were toddlers, and we we got the thing about how they're. I can't remember if we called them assholes or shitheads. We were crying, diesel, and Clara did today. She's such an asshole. And then we would tell a story, and then the next person would tell a story, and then the next person, and by the end of it, and I remember somebody was complaining that their kid thought they got ice cream for everything. So they would they were like 9 and they would go potty, and then they would say, "Can I have ice cream?" And then they would write their name on a paper, "Can I have ice cream?" And they're like, "God, there's such an asshole." Oh boy, whether we're sharing information or we're just supporting one another, our community is really strong. And why don't we wrap up here with thinking about what's next for our Clara?
oh my gosh, what's next? That's a really great question, actually.
I wasn't.
Adjusting to this transition of not being in school. One of the things I think that we're going to work on is getting her a job coach so that she can start doing a part-time job when she's not doing her modeling, because modeling is kind of a sporadic thing. It's not a steady 9 to 5 job 5 days a week. So we're still looking for a few things to fill in some gaps in her week.
So we're looking for a part-time job for her. So we're going to get a job coach on board to help with that a little bit, to fill up some of that. Um, see if she wants to, depending on how things go this year with her gap year, she wants to study photography, and she's going to apply to the chef program at NKU. So we'll see what happens with that, how many spots they have open for next year. So she may or may not be a college student this time next year, but if it pans out, who knows where we'll be? That we could be traveling the world. I don't know. Uh, Wherever that girl wants to go, I am more than happy to be her companion. So
That's great. You just got to make sure Carter's okay.
he'll be fine. He's great. He's used to being trucked around now. So wherever Clara goes.
Oh my gosh. I knew that I wanted your story here on the podcast because I think you do such a good job at experiencing those struggles um, and then righting the ship and keeping her at the forefront. So I thank you for being here. I'm so grateful that you could share just a smidge of her story with my audience. And, I think the world of you.
Well, thank you, Ashley. I love you guys.
Anytime.